Hello my friends, I just wanted to give all of you an update on what you can expect from Star Wars comics in canon for 2024 because I'm changing my output a little bit because doing my Patreon podcast, Genuine Chit-Chat, as well as Star Wars comics in canon, guest spots and everything else was getting a bit much. And in addition, my fiance Megan and I are getting married this year. We're doing a whole month-long trip in America in August, and so trying to plan that as well as everything else is also quite a lot too. But fret not, there is still going to be content coming your way. So the goal is to release 2 episodes a month at least, so that's going to be 1 episode of the Clone Wars Conversations, which is myself, Dave, Math, and occasionally Megan reviewing seasons of the Clone Wars. The plan is to do 1 episode per season approximately, but there's a couple where we're going to split the seasons in 2 because there's a lot to talk about. So we're going to be releasing those once a month. In addition to that, I'm aiming to release a book review each month. I've already read the Phasma book by Delilah S. Dawson, and I've also just finished Eye of Darkness, which is in the High Republic Phase 3, written by George Mann, so I will be recording those shortly. In addition to that, I am planning on occasionally releasing a comic episode because there's a few sort of plot threads that haven't been wrapped up if you're listening to this pod. So I'm aiming to get everything up to the Dark Droids crossover event, and then I think I'll probably tackle the Dark Droids crossover event. My loose goal is to finish the run of Aphra from 2020 because that finishes, I think, on issue 40, as well as the Bounty Hunters run as well, which ends on issue 42. The main Star Wars run, a main Darth Vader run, probably going to go to issue 50, if not beyond, and I'll just kind of see how those plot threads go. I may end up tweaking how I do the show slightly, doing slightly more reviews and less so full narrative breakdowns with connections, etc. Because as I think I said towards the end of 2023, the thing is I've been finding with recent episodes is that because I've done so much connective tissue to other content, including species and planets and etc., there's a lot of stuff I'm either repeating or there's a lot of content which has very little connections to other content. There's quite a few insular stories, or really after like the first issue of a story arc, the following issues there's not really anything to add. It's just kind of me reciting the whole plot to yourselves, and that's not really what I want to do with this pod. I want to introduce a lot of people to comics they may not have read and also talk about the connective tissue. With that in mind, I'm still going to try and keep up with a lot of the High Republic content because that's my absolute favourite era of Star Wars, and reading all those books and comics is something I genuinely want to do for fun, not just to be a completionist for this podcast. So I'll probably release a few High Republic episodes outside of the standard book reviews, just to kind of give reviews on some of the arcs, maybe talk about the main plot lines to a degree, maybe a few connections here and there, but I'll probably not do it to the same detail as I did before, because releasing 1 episode of Star Wars comics in canon, including reading, making notes, recording, editing, and etc. like that, it normally takes around 6+ hours per like half an hour, maybe hour of episode, and that with everything else I'm doing is just too much. So I want to be completely honest with yourselves that my output this year is going to reduce slightly, but I'm still going to be releasing content, primarily book reviews and Clone Wars conversations. If you are new to the show, make sure you go back and check out prior episodes. I have tackled every single canon Marvel Star Wars comic from 2014 all the way up to 2022, and then I've done a few of them from 2023. I've also spoken with quite a few Star Wars authors, including Claudia Gray, Cavan Scott, George Mann, Ethan Sachs, Kevin Shinnick, and Adam Christopher. So you can listen to those conversations wherever you're listening to this now, or if you're at youtube.com/genuine chit-chat, you can watch the video versions of those conversations as well. There will be the odd time that I speak with another Star Wars content creator or author or someone like that, and I will be releasing those on this feed as well, so you can keep your eyes out for those. But just make sure you follow me on social media at Genuine Chit-Chat. Make sure you follow the podcast Genuine Chit-Chat, as well as the podcast Star Wars Comics in Canon and Comics in Motion, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, just so you're covered in every single base, and it helps support the show. Please make sure you also share and leave reviews and things, because it really helps the show out. And feel free to reach out to me and talk. I'm happy to talk about Star Wars at any time. I'm on all the various social media platforms, so make sure you find me there. And if you want to hear a little bit about Legends content and things, then go over to patreon.com/genuine chit-chat, and for as little as £1 a month, you get access to over 200 episodes of Afterthoughts. A lot of those are myself and Megan reviewing movies and things in quite short bursts, almost like 10 to 20 minutes long usually. But I have released quite a few book reviews of Star Wars Legends stuff on there. I've done Darth Bane, Darth Plagueis, and a few other bits and pieces too, and I've got more to come as well. So if you want to support the show and get bonus content, please consider going to patreon.com/genuine chit-chat. But that's going to be enough from me, my friends. I just want to give you that update. In January, I am aiming to release the Clone Wars Conversations Episode 1. I'm recording that in a couple of weeks, and I am planning on recording and releasing a book review as well. I haven't decided if I'm doing Phasma or Eye of Darkness first. Who knows? But at the end of January, there's another High Republic book coming out, and there's a few other books I've got for Christmas as well, which I will be reading and reviewing. So fear not, I will still be releasing content. But if there are any comics that I haven't tackled that you're really desperate to hear my thoughts on, or if you want to hear like more information on them and things, please reach out and ask. And if anyone does request anything, then I will try my best to accommodate for those. But friends, thank you as always for listening, and of course, may the Force be with you.
you have just experienced host, creator, everything elser of Genuine Chit-Chat, and also the host and creator of Star Wars Comics in Canon, found on the Comics in Motion podcast, Mike Burton.